Happy Friday. Oh, the TV's on. There we go. All right, y'all. It's been a busy Friday. I wasn't planning on coming on this late, but here I am. I'm going to wait a couple minutes here to see if people join. I'm Kiana Sage. I guide people to peace. I do that in a very unconventional way through the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignments. You know, energy psychology is, hey, Peter, you're here. I didn't know if you'd show up. It's so late. I had a busy Friday. I was just waiting to see if other people are going to join me today. We're talking about confidence. Hey, Dovey, where have you been? Hey, Wendy, good to see you. Love it. Today, I'm talking about a topic that, oh my goodness, it's going to be in multiple parts. Oh, thank you so much. And a satin night dress? Dovey, we don't need those kind of comments here. Come on now. Come on. Okay. Goodness. So this topic comes up many times. In fact, it was Jerry a couple sessions ago that was asking about confidence. Jerry said something about, you know, he lost his job and therefore lost his confidence. And that was such an inspiring sharing that I wanted to do a topic around confidence, because so often people have misidentified where confidence comes from. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we'll just wait a few minutes for people to join on. I was trying to think, what is a good question for confidence? You know, most people who think they're confident. Hey, Mick! I've missed you the last couple days. Good to see you here. I'm curious, confidence. How do you know when you're confident? Do you know when you're confident? Do you know when you're confident? Is that the question? I think that's such a general because most people who think they're confident most often don't say that they're confident because they know they're confident. And people who aren't confident are egoic confident, you know? So it is a conundrum. It is a conundrum. So today we're talking about confidence. And that's what my thought is. What is the question about confidence? Let me think as we're waiting for people to join on here. Confidence. Do you know what makes you confident? I guess that's a good question to poll. Do you know? Let's see. Do you know what makes you more confident? Because, you know, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to expand in confidence. And today we're going to talk about, in part one, about what is at the root of confidence. Peter, thank you so much for being here. Oliver, thank you for helping out too. All right. So I get this question all the time about confidence, and I really hesitate to talk about confidence just because it's unique for everybody. So I'm talking in general terms, confidence here. So in general terms, confidence is not ever what people think it is, okay? Because most of the times, people's thoughts are incongruent. So when people's thoughts are incongruent, that means that what they think about confidence is also incongruent. So keep that in mind when we're talking about confidence. And for a moment, just think about, what do you think confidence is? So take a moment to think about, well, what do I think is confidence? So define what confidence is for you. And then I'm going to give you my perspective on confidence. And then I'm going to get to any questions that you have. Welcome from Italy. I'm just going to do a little chat here on confidence, and then I'm going to go and see if there's any questions about the topic of confidence, part one, because this is going to be multiple parts. Because today we're talking about the foundation, like how confidence is built. So, thank you so much for your compliments. The number one thing about confidence and what makes people confident is that they are moving in the right direction, meaning they are in alignment with their purpose, they're in alignment with their career, they're in alignment, like things are moving. They're not swimming against the stream, they're swimming with it. They are in alignment with what is best for them. That doesn't mean that they don't have challenges. It doesn't mean that they don't have problems. It just means that there is a sense and a knowingness of alignment. That is, the direction is supported and fulfilled. Okay, so if you are swimming against stream, and I know this because I've done it, I also teach it. So when people want to be more confident, you can't fake it till you make it, because it's a frequency and a vibration that you hold when you are in alignment, okay? So when people want to be more confident, it's really what the question is that they need to answer is, who am I? So I'm going to get to that one later. But you first need to know, are you swimming against the stream? Are you struggling? And if you're struggling, what is it that you are struggling with? Why are you swimming against the stream? So I'm going to use an example of even something that I've done. I am an experimenter. I like to experiment in many different ways to find what works for me. And sometimes you do things and you do it because you want it to work, right? But it's not working. And so you keep trying, but when do you know when to stop? A confident person is looking and assessing, saying, okay, ultimately this is just not working. And they say a spade is a spade. They say the truth is the truth. This just is not working. They're willing to see the truth. A confident person doesn't deny that things aren't working. A confident person does not pretend that things aren't working. A confident person will look at things and say, maybe I need to adjust here. Maybe I need to adjust here. Maybe I need to adjust there. Maybe I need to scrap this whole thing and not do this anymore. How long do you keep on trying something before you actually experience that this has been swimming against stream for the last 10 years and it's time that I stop, right? So that's one thing. Alignment. So are you going in the direction that feeds your light, your love, your passion, your support, the direction where you feel most fulfilled? That's alignment. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual alignment, that's being congruent, right? So we already know that our thoughts, most people's thoughts, are incongruent, meaning they think one thing and do another. That's incongruent. They say one thing and do another. That's incongruent. They lie and do something else. That's incongruent. So if you're doing any of those behaviors, whether it's a coping mechanism or you want to label it as something else, it doesn't matter. You are the one that has to see that it's in alignment or not. Nobody else can really truly say it's in alignment for you, because you're the ultimate knower of your own experience. And just because you don't know doesn't mean you won't know. Okay, so we're on to something here. So just stay with me. This idea of confidence is very unconventional. So the way that I'm approaching it is not traditional. So you want to make sure you're in alignment. Number 2, this is the hardest one for people, is that when people are confident, they go into the unknown differently. They don't fear the unknown. They don't stray away from it. They don't try and predict the future. They do a nice estimation, but for the most part, they have conversations, they have expectations, they have exercises, they have exercises in vulnerability. They make it a habit. It's habitual to go out of their comfort zone. Okay? So they go into the unknown. Why does somebody who's confident go into the unknown regularly? Because they know that that expands their perceptions of how they see things, how they sense things, how they experience things, and it changes how they can manage stress, right? Because confident people, it's not that they don't experience stress, it's just that their aptitude, their emotional quotient is much higher than the average person. So confidence is not boisterous, it's more about a knowingness. And this goes to the third aspect that I wanted to talk about today, which is when somebody is confident at the core of who they are, what they do is not going to be what makes them confident. Who they are. They know who they are. So they have answered the question, who am I? Now, I remember when my husband and I were first started dating, and he asked me, who are you? And I said, well, I'm a multidimensional being. And I had like this whole explanation of who I am. And I still believe that to be true. But that wasn't the answer he was expecting. I think that's what hooked him, is that I gave such a unique experience of who I am. But I'm different. I know I'm different. I have no problems being different. But who are you? How do you describe yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? You embody all of those things. So none of those things are a job. All of those aspects are part of you. So when you ask the question, who am I? What are your answers for that? Know your answer. And if you don't know, that is absolutely okay. But go into inquiry and answer the question, who am I? Because when you know who you are, your confidence will skyrocket. You'll be strong in who you are because you have a knowingness. Because confidence is directly correlated to your knowingness of who you are. That's why self-awareness is so important. Self-awareness, self-reflection, and expansion. And your emotional intelligence will go up, and then how you react will no longer be a reaction, it will be a response. So know who you are. You are here to learn and grow. But if you don't know who you are, and you don't know those answers, you will flounder when faced with something that scares you. You will flounder when you go for an interview because you will not be in alignment. Because when you're going for positions that are higher executive roles, let's just say, they're looking for somebody who knows who they are, because if you don't know who you are, you're going to be manipulated much easier. And that's a risk. That's a risk for every company. So that is what I have to say about part one of confidence, alignment, going into the unknown. That means you get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. You get comfortable with exercises, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual exercises. You really try to stretch yourself going into the unknown, knowing that you don't know the answers and you're looking to be curious. And then answer the question, who am I? That's fundamental to confidence. Excuse me, I am thirsty. Okay, so let's see. Do you all have any questions about confidence? And did you know those were the foundation of confidence? So 72% say you know what makes you confident. I wonder if you think it's what you think that is. Or if you knew all these things and you're already confident. Mick? I want to know. Wendy, do you know what makes you confident? Confident. Thank you, Mayesh. Brian's in the Amazon rainforest. Hello. This is a cool stream. Thank you, Night Owl. Lots of compliments today. Thank you. I don't need the compliments. I just want to talk about confidence and want to see and have a discussion, a real discussion about confidence. Being comfortable in yourself and what you are doing in life. That's what you think confidence is. Because I think confidence has nothing to do with comfort. So Mick, you and I, we're going to disagree on this one. We agree so often, we're going to have a friendly disagreement. We're going to disagree on this one because I don't think anything good comes from your comfort zone. Being comfortable with yourself is different than accepting yourself. So confident people have acceptance. They have self-acceptance. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and like we've talked before, our strengths and our weaknesses can shift. Wendy's saying, I hear what you're saying. I would say I'm a work in progress. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? Like, obviously, like I'm focusing on learning more about cellular biology. I'm not confident in that, but I'm confident that I will learn exactly what I need to learn. And right now I'm learning about the fascia system and different aspects of the fascia system that I didn't understand prior to what I'm working on right now. So we get confident when we know, but how do we know if we're not out of our comfort zone? So there, I'm going to challenge you again, Mick. Attention gives me confidence. So that would be magic mover. I would say if you think confidence is coming from outside of yourself, that means that you are dependent on others to recognize you in order to feel confident. And I would say that's insecure. I would actually say that definitely seems like somebody who is looking outside themselves to feel something within. That's not necessarily the best way to move forward, in my opinion. But it's just me. Oh, so you're being honest. So you are looking outside yourself. Okay. But you know that the inside world creates the outside world. So then you're looking outside to validate who you are inside. That doesn't even make sense. It's like, that's what's called a reversal in energy, everybody. When we have a knowing, and all energy and signals come from within you. You are a signaling system. That's why physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies must be in alignment, because we are a signaling system. When we are signaling, if we are looking for validation from the outside, our signal is going to be very, very low, because the outside only responds to what's going on inside. So you want to change that, magic. And I would say, you know what? Do an experiment. Do an experiment and see if your confidence actually increases without looking outside yourself by doing something like going outside your comfort zone. I would do something like that. Wendy is saying the hardest part is being uncomfortable and allowing fear to guide me. Well, being uncomfortable, I would look at how could you challenge your perspective about discomfort. Because obviously, if you're judging something as uncomfortable, you'll be less inclined to try it, right? But if you are approaching things like I do, like one of my values is learning. I love to learn. And so I am like, oh, what am I going to learn from this experience? Or you could look at it from a place of curiosity. I wonder if, and then you start to go in, and even that opens your mind and opens your perspective, and your aperture begins to change. So how you are approaching things. So I would look at that, because If you're seen as going in the unknown as uncomfortable, you'll be less inclined to go. That's why it's so important to do things that cause you to be uncomfortable on a regular basis. Consciously choosing to go outside your comfort zone. Mick is saying, 100% I deal with issues all the time, but I will learn as I go. Right? Well, all of us. And we either learn or repeat. So those are the options. You're either learning or you're repeating a pattern until you learn it. Which is why so many people are in the dark night of the soul, because what happens is we get passed down lessons through our DNA, and we must learn our lessons. And at this time in human history, this is just my assessment, we are at a pivot point of which many people will not be able to manage what's coming. It's going to be quite challenging. So how uncomfortable you get with being uncomfortable is going to be determined by your propensity to learn and grow and change and be adaptive and flexible and like live life fully and not take life so seriously that you are afraid of being uncomfortable. We're resilient. That's part of our DNA. But if we've adapted to conditions that make us feel small, we'll act small. Hey, Oregon. Hey, Larry. Good to see you here. When you have achievements that you measure, you reassure yourself. Well, again, you're looking outside yourself for reassurance. That's not genuine confidence. And eventually, you're going to have what's called a humbling experience. And it will be detrimental to and it could be fracturing. So when we are looking outside of ourselves for resolution, we could have what's called emotional, mental, spiritual fracturing, which is very painful, which I wouldn't wish on anybody, but it happens. When you get out of the comfort zone and get hurt, your ego grows stronger and you become more fixed. Yeah, the ego is what keeps you stuck and keeps you small, you see. Your ego is what keeps you looking outside for the answers, but it's your true alignment comes from within. So you don't want to protect your ego, you want to do your ego work. So your ego is not driving the show, that your heart is really driving the show. When you look at all the people that you really admire, that you see as confident, I will say, more often than not, they have a driver, and that driver is coming from within. It's never on the external. Think about who you admire and respect. Hey, Scotland, Barry, good to see you. Checking in from outer space, love it. Wendy says thumbs up. Okay, what's happening here in the comments? Kyle says, my past lesson was not a life sentence. Good for you. Mike is asking, how do I get over depression? Well, we're not talking about depression today, and I'm so sorry that you're feeling down, Mike, but I would suggest consciously breathing into your heart on a regular basis. Do that for 20 minutes a day, 4 times a day. Just consciously breathing, and you will see a significant difference within 10 days. But you have to be conscious, you have to be breathing, and I have a video on here if you want to learn how to do the one breath that I teach on my channel. Mix. Sometimes I like to act small because I'm confident at my core. Well, that seems like an inner conflict. Why would you pretend to be something you're not? What's the purpose of that? Why would you act small? Why would you dim your light for anything, Mick? I would suggest, Mick, as your friend here, Kiana, who we've never met, but we see each other in the chat. I would say don't ever dim your light. Don't ever play small for anything or anyone. If you are choosing to be small, ask yourself, why would I dim my light? Who am I? And answer that question. Who am I to dim my light? Magic Mover, I wish you well. Yeah, lots. It's okay, Peter. Thank you. I'm just going through the chat. We're talking about confidence. We're done. I've gotten through. Mick says, I don't know. Mick, do you know who you are? Does everybody in here, do you know who you are? Start a poll. Ooh, wow. Let me see. I have to end it because I spelled it wrong. Sorry, y'all. Well, you know what I mean. You guys know. Any questions? Maybe he's just small. Maybe he's not small. None of us are small. Small is a perception. And when you start on the spiritual journey, it's always what's small is big and what's big is small. It's never what you think it is. That's why the thinking needs to go out the window when it comes to confidence, because confidence has nothing to do with what you think. It has nothing to do with how many books you read. It has nothing to do with how intelligent you think you are. It has everything to do with who you know yourself to be. It's the truth of who you are. That's what makes you confident. That's what chooses your alignment. Curious. Such an interesting topic, confidence, because people really think confidence is something that you do. And this is why I've struggled so much with some of my clients who want to get this position, because when I get this position, I can have this title. I was like, make your own title. Like, title yourself. If you're doing something for a title, that is a weak move, in my opinion. Magix is saying the more intelligent you are, the less confident you become. Sometimes, it depends on what kind of intelligence you're valuing. Do you value the type of intelligence? I mean, I used to value and think that people who went to MIT and Harvard, I used to think they were so smart because they went there. And then I realized about the special programs and who they really were. And then I realized that they were my colleagues and they weren't smarter than me. They weren't more astute than me. They had a different vocabulary. They had a different presentation. But it didn't matter what university they went to. It could just be who they were. Mick is saying, Kiana, sometimes I feel I shine very bright and has drawn the wrong attention in my old circles. Interesting, Mick. Sounds like you have some lessons there. Yeah, it sounds like lessons there, because we are never intended to shine bright only when. We shine bright always. And as we grow in our brightness, in our knowingness, in our alignment, the people that we're around change. Yes, Magic. The thinking thoughts are mostly inaccurate. That's why you don't associate thinking and confidence. They're very different. But a lot of people think that confidence are these things. And when you start to write down, well, what is confidence? What do I think confidence is? You start to bring down the illusion of what confidence is. Well, see, here Magic is saying, especially when you have ADHD, which is a diagnosis, okay? And Magic, you're new here, I think. But what I think about diagnosis is that no title ever defines who you are. That is not who you are. That is what somebody else said you have an expression of. It's up to you whether you accept that or not. And I say, how dare you ever accept anything that's less than the truth? And you're not a diagnosis. You may have an expression of something, but you are no diagnosis. Aaron is saying, yes, I'm watching my question. If you said you don't know if you don't know who you are, people can manipulate you. But how can you break that down? Because sometimes you can read energy. Aaron, you have to know who you are. I can't tell you who you are. Part of knowingness is feeling the truth of your knowingness, of who you are in pure alignment. And sometimes it will take, Aaron, it will take weeks for you to come up with the answer of knowing who you are. Maybe it'll take months. Maybe it'll take years. But the fact that you're asking the question and looking for the answer, who am I? Who am I? I know who I am. I know what I do. I know how I serve. And yet, I've gotten more crystal clear on who I am as I've aged, right? As I'm older. But our confidence comes from our knowing. Daw says I don't come to YouTube for therapy and to learn about myself. You're on the wrong channel. This isn't therapy, but this is about learning. This is about growth. This is about expansion. And you're definitely on the wrong channel because we are always looking to grow physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm not a therapist. I don't do therapy. I do alignment. Totally different. Hello, Russia. Hey, Paul. Oh, Magic's saying, I don't know much, so I assume. That's ego. That's a very good awareness to have. Because when we assume, we often are thinking. That's different than our knowing. Anyways, so this is part 1 of a 2-part series. If I don't see any questions about confidence, I'm going to move on, and we can call it a day. So I come on here every day, usually between 12 and 3, although the time today is off. And I had a really busy Friday. And so here I am. I'm committed to this Being in Sync 366 video series where I come on here and talk about a different topic in relationship to the natural laws. The natural laws are what aligns physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. If any one of those bodies is out of alignment, that will cause what's called incongruence. When we have incongruence in all aspects of our life and our bodies, we will have a lot of challenges and in some cases, a lot of drama. So the better we rectify those incongruencies, the more aligned we become. The more aligned we become, the more joy we experience in life. And, the better we can navigate those challenging times. And there are challenging times. Soul salvation. Thank you. Great subject for our nation. How to know if I'm inadequate. Well, Magic, the fact that you're looking outside of yourself doesn't mean that you're inadequate, because I couldn't judge and wouldn't judge whether somebody's adequate or not adequate. I would look at some maybe like abilities and capabilities and their propensity to be open and flexible. And so that's what I would look at. So the fact that you're saying inadequate is quite interesting, actually. So I wouldn't use that language because we're all here to learn and grow. So what's inadequate one day might be totally fine the next. So I would get out of judgment because that's really a function of the ego. So you want to look at how you're looking at things from a space of judgment is always going to be the ego. And when there's ego involved, there's also going to be a lack of acceptance. When there's a lack of acceptance, you're going to have a propensity for a lot of density. When you have a lot of density and overwhelm in your field, you're going to feel heavy. It's going to be like a weight on your shoulders. And that usually is a cycle. So to get out of that cycle, it's best to go into awareness, self-awareness, reflection, and asking high-quality questions that guide you from the inside out. That was kind of long. Kay is saying, it's a matter of how you respond to your environment. Environment is important, for sure. Mick is saying, I have been dimming my light, and you are right. It doesn't feel right to me. This, Mick, makes this entire stream worthy of doing. The fact that you have this awareness that you have been doing, which is number one, alignment. Having the awareness that doesn't feel right to you is telling you it's the wrong thing for you. And I would say in general, it's never a good idea to dim your light for any situation. Like if you can't be your authentic self, maybe you don't belong there. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Hello, Armenia. Magic is saying, so just go with the flow. Well, it's important to know where the flow is going, Magic. Where is the direction? That's number one, the alignment. Where is the direction that you're going? How do you know where you're going? How are you going? You said you had measures. What are those measures? SM is saying, I'm so brainy? Really? Maybe it's the glasses. Everybody comments on my long face. I really don't understand why you feel the need to even comment. Why? Think I'm going to get surgery because somebody on YouTube says I have a long face? It's crazy. Okay, y'all. Okay, bye. See you later, Magic Mover. Okay, y'all. It's been about 40 minutes. I am going to say good night. I appreciate you being here. And Mick, I want to thank you for being in the chat and giving me your awareness made me doing this video worthwhile. And Wendy, I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much. I want you all to be more confident in who you are. So what's the one question you want to answer? Who am I? You want to know in the core of who you are what the right answer is for you. And we all might be at a different space, but we all should know who we are because that's the fundamental foundation of confidence. And if you don't know that and you're still linking to your job, you're screwed. You're not screwed. You're just not going to be in alignment. That's all. We want you to be in alignment. All right. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Thank you, Mick. See you tomorrow, y'all. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Oliver. Thank you all. Wendy, it's been good to see you. If you're new here, put on the notifications. Come on at a different time tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.